Well, hello, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and I thought I would do a video on cleaning. I've done several record cleaning videos in the past as my journey through that process has evolved over over the years, and so this video is to show how I combine the best of both worlds, the best of manual or record cleaning, machine cleaning, utilizing chemistry to clean records, and the use of an ultrasonic machine to physically remove debris and organic matter from records to give us, with of course the always the big objective, the cleanest, best sounding record we can possibly achieve. But you can purchase a ultrasonic machine with adapted capability for cleaning records, and you can do that for less than $200 now. Uh, let me, before I go any further, let me say that this is totally a hobbyist video. I am not in any way promoting any products in particular. I'll tell you about the products I use, but that doesn't mean that that's the only option by any means. No one is compensating me for this video. My channel is not monetized, and I was not shipped any free equipment or loaned any equipment in order to do this video. This is just me, my process, uh, my analysis, my work in coming up with the best way to clean vinyl records. So I hope this will be of some use to others who are out there doing, and maybe I've done some of the legwork, some of the research that you won't have to do in your journey in the same process. And many thanks to Neil Antin, who everything I do is generally based on his research and his study of cleaning records. I'll leave a link to his free manual on the various ways to clean records in the description below. I highly recommend that before you jump into this too heavily, you read Neil Anton's Precision Aqueous Cleaning of Vinyl Records is the name of it. Third edition is the best one to go to, the most complete one to go to. So traditionally, I have cleaned using the chemistry method of cleaning records. Uh, I have a record cleaning machine here, which is nothing but a vacuum cleaner in a box. Okay. That's really all it boils down to. Something to spin the records while you scrub and then vacuum the records. You can utilize any number of other means to do the same thing you're doing here. The advantage of having a RCM is if you clean a lot of records, I was getting carpal tunnel from manually turning records on a old turntable or some other device as I scrub them, and this will turn the record your for you. But I've used basins, and that's a good way to clean the record. Uh, I've used the spin clean is the one most commonly utilized, but there's several models. It's nothing complicated about it. There's the squeaky clean out of Canada. This is the base for that squeaky clean. You hook up your vacuum method, shop vac, wet dry shop vac, and this enables you to turn the records. There's a little twist that sits on there. Turn the records as you vacuum. You hook the vacuum up to this. That works. That works fine too. And then there's the vinyl vac. This is a PVC pipe with a groove cut out with felt around it, so you don't scratch the record. And using the shop vac, you simply attach this to the shop vac hose, and using an old turntable, spin the record, and you vacuum it off. Use that for years. All that works fine. all this record cleaning machine does is make it more convenient for you by having it all encased in here. Okay. I use brushes. This is specifically a Record Doctor brush uh, in order to brush in the surfactant into the record when I clean it. Use just, condiment uh, container, ketchup container there to squeeze out enough of the surfactant to clean, to start brushing it, and a spray bottle of distilled water. Uh, micro Microfiber towels. Uh, use these as sparingly as possible. Anytime you touch a record with even a microfiber uh, towel, you're going to leave something on there. So just bear that in mind. Sometimes you have to. I usually clean the labels, which it won't matter then. And every once in a while, I may have to just very lightly wipe something, a water droplet or something off. But you don't want to use them too often. Some earmuffs, because this gets loud. Now, this gets up to about 89 dBs. This doesn't bother me. I don't normally use earmuffs or ear protection of any type when I'm cleaning with this. In fact, I'll play music while I'm cleaning with this uh, because it's on and off, the vacuum, and then it's off for a while as a scrub and then back on again. So I can listen to a record without too much interruption with that on there, and I don't need earmuffs. But when I use the ultrasonic, it's that high frequency, not how loud it is. It's the high frequency that stresses my ears a lot. And so I've started using these whenever this is on, whenever ultrasonic is on. Now, a simple uh, surfactant solution is Liquinox. Highly recommend that you utilize Liquinox. You simply want to take a gallon of distilled water and add 1 ounce of Liquinox. I'll pour a little bit out first, so make a little room, and then pour 1 ounce of Liquinox uh, into that gallon of water and shake that up. And then you've got a gallon of surfactant, and then I'll just pour them into the spray bottle or this type of condiment container here in order to distribute that. Now, this is a chemical reaction you're going for here. So I always do in this combination cleaning, I do a first clean with the Liquinox. I clean the record and then rinse the record on here and then set it out to dry while I'm degassing this ultrasonic. And then when I've this is finished degassing, I'll start moving records over to here from the drying rack over to here, and I will clean with the ultrasonic, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. And from there to another drying rack, and then back from that drying rack after the ultrasonic physical cleaning has taken place, I'll come over here again, and this time it will get a clean rinse. I'm going to rinse off all the residue from the surfactant solution out of the record. So I've got a nice clean record. Now, moving over to the ultrasonic. As I say, this is one that's really inexpensive. Uh, I'm not promoting any particular brand or anything like this, but this is a 40 kilohertz, 180 watt transducer ultrasonic, and it has an attachment on it. So with a rotisserie, so you can load records on here and then drop it down and then clean it. Now you're going to want to clean with the ultrasonic. You're going to want to clean no more than 10 minutes. I clean mine for 9 minutes, 2 records at a time. And there's a reason. They claim, you can put 6, 8 records on here. Don't do that. Okay. The better the results will will be achieved with fewer records and those records spaced apart, at least an inch. I'd space, since you're only going to put 2 on here, I'd space them out both from the wall to the record and from record 1 to record 2. I'd space them out as far as I could, because the more space you got, the more likely you get the most cavitation to take place. Those bubbles, you'll produce more, and more will burst and send that jet stream into the groove to try to physically remove anything from that. A couple of things about this, an inexpensive like this, ultrasonic like this. Now, this has a temperature setting, and you want it to be about 35 degrees Celsius. Okay. And you want to be able to time it. And this has a timer on it, but you obviously can do it with your phone or any other device you might have, timing device. This, because this is not originally made for cleaning records, this rotisserie turns too fast. So you're going to need to get a voltage regulator, just the power block, and be able to adjust the amount of voltage that you're using, and adjust it down as low as you can. I have mine just as low as you can, and I get a rotation of about a little less than uh, one rotation per minute. Okay. So at 9 minutes, 1 rotation per minute, a little less than 1 rotation per minute. That's about 8 rotations that it gets, and that is it's about as much as you want it to do. Now there's formulas for calculating distance and between records, and the fluid flow rate in the tank, which is important about when it comes to cavitation. I'll include a link to that video I did earlier to get the specifics on that. Now, one thing, they advertise this as 3 transducers, 3 180-watt transducers. This came from probably China or some other nation far, far away, and the language issues can result. These transducers are not 180 watts per. They're supposed to be 60 watts per. So 3 times 60 is 108. In all likelihood, these transducers aren't putting out 60 watts each. And that's why I've got a watt meter here. And it's going to tell me, not exactly, but in general terms, about how many watts is being put out with these transducers in this machine. It's not going to be exactly the same on the wall as it is in the tank, but it gives you a rough idea. And you've got 3 of them, and if you know what it is when you start, and it might not be but like 35 each, or something like that, or 25 each. But regardless, get you a standard, what you expect it to be running at. And if it drops by a third, guess what that tells you? One of your transducers has failed you. Okay. If it drops by 2/3, then it tells you 2 of them have failed you. So it's a good idea to get that baseline established. And what do? Go in there and replace no, throw this sucker in the trash and order you another tank. That's, they're not made to be replacing these little parts. This is $150 here. So you can probably get you a tank without this for $100, maybe $90 or something like that. You just have to check Amazon, check eBay, check Harbor Harbor Freight, Granger maybe. different places and, find you. This is all standard stuff that they're using here. That's why it's no different if you get a ultrasonic that was specifically made for cleaning records, or if you get one that is a general purpose that is adapted for cleaning records, as far as the transducers are concerned and things like that. Now, there's an advantage in some if you've got the transducers on the side rather than at the bottom, as you have here. That can make a difference, and it may improve the quality of what you're doing. But the difference shouldn't be that significant. You should be able to get it as clean with either. Now, this tank is supposed to be 6 liters, but it's really about 4.5 liters as far as filling it up to the line where you need to stop in the dead wax of the record. You don't want to go into the label when you fill it up. So be aware of that as well when you're doing any kind of calculations you might need to be doing. So it's going to take a little more than a gallon of distilled water. So you're going to fill this tank up with 1.2 gallons of distilled water. After you do that, you're going to add some Turgitol 15S9, which you can find online. Turgitol 15S9. I use this dropper and just fill this up. I mean, gosh, you can't even tell I've used any of this just to fill this up. I'm going to put 20 drops of Turgitol 15S9 into this distilled water. Okay. Now, that's going to require a final rinse. As I come off of this to my drying rack, I then come from that drying rack over to back to my record cleaning machine, and I'm going to rinse it with distilled water, using the brushes to scrub it as well. I'm going to rinse it and put it back on the rack, and it should be ready to put up at that point. Now, there are various formulas. If you don't want to do this last rinse step, either don't use any Turgitol in there, or use a lesser amount, say 6 drops. Now, what's the difference in those? And you could do like 12 or 14 drops, and you may or may not need to rinse. Now, what's the difference? A surfactant has a CMC level. Okay, when you have a surfactant solution, you have a certain amount of that surfactant, in this case, the Turgitol, that is going to act as a reduction of surface tension. You're going to remove the surface tension. And the purpose, of course, in the ultrasonic is to make it easier for those jet streams from the burst bubbles, cavitation bubbles, to get into the grooves and clean them out. Okay. That CMC level, once it reaches a certain point, there is no more surface tension reduction available. Okay. But if the amount of Turgitol exceeds that level, then the remainder acts as a detergent, a cleaning agent. So you get the same chemical cleaning or similar chemical cleaning taking place in the ultrasonic as you had when you were using the Liquinox cleaner on the record cleaning machine. Does that make sense? So by putting 20 drops in here, I'm doing two things, two types of cleaning here. I'm doing the physical cleaning through the cavitation bubbles bursting and propelling into the grooves, and I'm doing a chemical cleaning through the detergency of the Turgitol in the affecting the record. Okay. I hope that makes sense, but that's how that works. Now, what I want to show you, and I'll do this quickly in a fast forward type of video. I'm going to clean goes through a cycle of cleaning the records. Now, And the last actual cleaning step is the final rinse cycle, where I've finished on the ultrasonic, and those records that have been through the ultrasonic are sitting on a rack over here, and I'll move them over to here, and simply using distilled water, I will rinse them. But I will say the most important step in any record cleaning process is that rinse, because all the work you might do to get out all the organic matter and inorganic matter that may have accumulated in those grooves is for naught if you leave a veil of uh, the solution sitting on that record. So you really got to get it all out. So I'd rather be on the safe side and always do a rinse to conclude. Once they've come off the rinse, I'll then go to a second rack where they're going to be drying, and I'll be getting it together the inner sleeves and the outer sleeves and the jackets and putting everything together. When you clean uh, one of these records and you rinse it, how do you know that you've gotten all the residual solution, all the surfactant out of that vinyl? You know by the beading of the vinyl. If the record beads up well, then you've gotten everything out, at least so much out that any that's still there won't be uh, able to hear with the normal person with normal hearing. I have super hearing, I could hear something, but that should take care of it. So again, just plain distilled water straight on, a brush to make sure it gets down there. I count to about 20 on these. When I'm putting on the surfactant solution, I count to 30 and go forward and reverse on that. And I'll go forward and reverse with the rinse cycle as well. And you want to give it a little bit of time. Let it now. If you dry vacuum too much, you'll create static in your record. But that doesn't mean you can't let it go 2 or 3 cycles. It'll be okay. Because remember, you're trying to suck up anything that's been loosened. Not everything may have flowed out uh, originally, and it may just be sitting there loose, and the vacuum is going to get it up. So now we reverse it. Now, not all record cleaning machines have a forward and reverse. If you have that, it is a good idea to go in both directions, forward and reverse. Uh, I don't know how well you can, and if you're doing it by hand, obviously you can go forward and reverse. It's just you. Uh, I don't know how well the camera shows it, but this record is beaded up beautifully. So I know all the solution has been removed. About 20, 25 counts. I won't say they're seconds. It's me counting in my head. And again, when I'm applying the surfactant and brushing vigorously, but not bearing down hard, but brushing vigorously to agitate the suds to get them down into the grooves. I'm counting to 30. Then I'm reversing and counting to 30 again, brushing vigorously. Then I'm back. And now the record is relatively dry now, of course, but you kind of want to be a little careful. Again, you don't want to be touching the actual grooves with any type of cloth as much as you can avoid it. Sometimes you can't avoid it though. But what I'm trying to do is keep anything from falling, dripping down onto the record, which has just been vacuum dried, and then taking the microfiber cloth and wiping the label. So if you don't, water accumulates on the label, and you flip it over and it gets onto the grooves. Some people are very fearful of damaging the label. These labels are very resilient. They can get wet and they'll dry back to their normal state, and they don't peel off. I know I've cleaned thousands and thousands of records in my time, and I've only can't come across 3 or 4 where that was ever an issue. I'm not going to bore you with me putting records in inner sleeves, but I will say, get a new inner sleeve. Do not stick a record you just cleaned back into an old sleeve, especially if it's a paper sleeve, but any sleeve for that matter. Uh, you can get a good poly uh, inner sleeve. I paid 15 cents a piece for the ones that I use, and they're good quality. They're not audiophile uh, inner sleeves. I don't think we really need those, but they're good anti-static inner sleeves. Put them in a new inner sleeve. Don't stick them back in the old one. That's like taking a bath and then putting on your dirty clothes when you get out. Uh, I also suggest you go ahead and take care of all the duties you have to do about record cleaning while you're still in here doing this. Don't say, I'll do it later. So you want to drain the record cleaning machine of the water it's vacuumed up. You want to clean your brushes, rinse them out. I, I rinse them out in the sink and then spray them with distilled water and then put them back up to be used again. Refill your spray bottles with distilled water. I'll go through one of these spray bottles of distilled water on a session. Now, what I've done is I've cleaned 16 records. I had about 6 of them done during the 30 minutes that the ultrasonic was degassing. So that got me ahead of the game. And then I started putting them in the ultrasonic and running that once it was degassed, and continued to clean with my first clean with my Liquinox surfactant. And before I had finished all the ultrasonic cleanings, I had cleaned all the records with the first clean. So I started doing this rinse cycle that I just did while the last few records were being run through the ultrasonic. I think I had about 6 done, completely done and on the rack, ready to go into inner sleeves once they dried when the last record came off the ultrasonic. So that gives you an idea. The ultrasonic's running about 9 minutes. It takes about 5 minutes to do a clean and rinse with the Liquinox, and it takes 9 minutes in the ultrasonic, and then it takes about 3 minutes to do the final rinse clean. So you can get an idea of how long all this takes. Uh, from coming downstairs into this basement and starting to get stuff together, getting the records I'm going to clean together, uh, making sure everything's where it needs to be, that sort of thing, and starting the ultrasonic degassing, to finishing up rinsing all the brushes and emptying uh, the tank, the record cleaning machine tank, uh, and putting all the records in new inners and outers. Uh, 3 to 3.5 hours to do 16 records. That may be too long for some of you. I don't know. But I'm retired, so it gives me a job to do. I do the lid on the ultrasonic. I don't replace the still water each time I do the ultrasonic because remember, they've already been cleaned and rinsed before they go into the ultrasonic. So that water stays relatively clean, very clean, in fact. I've been doing about 4 sets of 16, which would be about 68 records, somewhere in there. And I'll say, okay, I just don't want to carry it too far. And I will change out the distilled water in there, put new uh, Turgitol, 20 drops in there. And what I've found works best, I tried a couple of different things. There's no lid for that ultrasonic, at least not one that works properly. So aluminum foil. I'll just roll out some aluminum foil and cover the top. So that's how I'm combining traditional chemistry-based record cleaning with the physical cleaning using cavitation from an ultrasonic cleaner. Uh, I think it's the best of both worlds, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas about all this. So please comment. And so I'll leave you now. I want to remind everybody, please be kind to your neighbor. We should love our neighbors.